Welcome back, Season 22, Week 1, Round 3. So my opponent is still attacking. I finished my attacks. I dropped one, but the reason why I called this video what I called it is because last two videos I talked a lot about being taxed in certain ways, and Dr. Red Wolf's defense definitely taxed me in a lot of different ways, which means I had to get really creative. So the good news is I only dropped one, but it did force me to come up with some fun counters, things that definitely work, but not sure if they work at scale, but at least for today it was good enough. But we'll go over the details. Otherwise, defense, full Starjammers in one, no Lalandra. Daring Warriors with Sus, and it's a big Daring Warriors. Not a lot of G21, but a lot of diamonds. Room 3, Exalted Blue Marvel, and I was worried about this. I wasn't entirely sure what I would do if someone put this in this room, because there are only so many characters that stop assists, and one of them is Professor X, and he's kind of neutered against Exalted. But you'll see what ended up happening here, and this is the most interesting room here because it changed what I did everywhere. And you'll see why. Otherwise, room 4 is Annihilus, Symbiote 6, and Thanos. I'm pretty sure Thanos should just not be here anymore, but I think it's also rare that anyone has Annihilus on offense, so people aren't really setting rooms for that version. They're trying to get people to sack incorrectly. So I guess that's good for me. Room 5, the Hank Shuri version of Phoenix Force, which normally is not a problem, but this week caused a lot of problems. And then finally in room 6, Mephisto with New Mutants, which also taxes me in a very interesting way. So lots of taxes, nobody likes paying taxes, but I had to pay for this round, and hopefully it paid off and we get a nice fat refund with points. So let's see how it went. Alright, starting with stage 1. I was actually a little worried about this attack just because I haven't ever done it before, but yeah, Starjammers with no Lalandra versus Fantastic Four, Captain Britain, and Old Man Logan. So yeah, I was a little worried about this because I know Franken's ultimate can be counterattacked, so I was wondering if he's gonna take way too much damage. Also, I did not bring a pre-taunt, so also paranoid will this Havoc do bad things to me? But actually you can avoid that, so we do the ultimate now, and we can strip everything, including Nova, because my Logan is here, so he doesn't have charges. This is the part that's painful, because he takes a whole bunch of damage from the retaliates, and I'm pretty sure if this was a bigger team, he probably just straight up dies at that point. Here, I opted to do the Invisible Woman special because I wanted to ability block this guy. I didn't want him taking a turn, and I also didn't want to kill him by mistake, because I think that he would give them all speed up, and that might do weird things, so I played it safe. And Havoc's dead, so it's great. That means speed bars on the table and assists because they just lost a member. Then I went into Howard because he's my next biggest problem. Boop. Lots of kills. So, I was worried for nothing. Also, this time Captain Britain did decide to do his stun, which sometimes just doesn't seem to work. But stun Groot, so not a problem. And at this point, it's just 2 more turns to, kill Nova. Could have ended here, but Groot decided to revive, so 1 more turn. And he's dead. So, yeah, pretty decent. Maybe less efficient against a very big Starjammers, although I don't know that anyone's really investing in them anymore, but I know there's some people that have monster ones. So yeah, maybe this guy dies, I don't know, but there is no RNG here, I guess, in terms of, we'll Havoc one-shot someone, because you can keep them pretty well controlled. So yeah, this seems fairly safe, and let's move on. Moving on to stage 2, so this is my favorite version of killing a Daring Warriors comp that does not have Blue Marvel. That's a whole other can of worms. So yeah, let's go over this. It's kind of like the standard best version of this, but with one tiny change, because I found that when Quasar wins the coin flip with Jeff, Quasar just hits into a bunch of barrier and just doesn't do any damage. He's kind of dead weight, but you do need the immunity to, you know, do things beyond, well, sorry, I guess after Eclipse goes, because otherwise they'll be blinded. But yeah, if Quasar won the coin flip, then you do less damage, and, you know, I ran into a very, very big Daring Warriors that I just did not have enough damage to kill because that happened. So what I like to do here is I bring Songbird now, because her special clears barrier on all enemies, which is good. And then it actually hits for 400% damage, which is actually more damage than the ultimate. And I don't really care about the offense down because she's going to flip that anyway, or Eclipse is going to flip that anyway. So I just decide which trio I want to beat up on and then go after that. So in this case... So I figured, I mean, Thrasher's usually the one you want to kill with Cannonball, so these two being next to each other is pretty good. Then I pull everyone onto Thrasher. At that point, Sus is dead. Quasar ultimate, also unblockable, and he's a striker, so there's Cannonball. Now there's only 3 members, so a lot of the things that they would normally do no longer apply. But Eclipse still goes, hits pretty hard. I think if she was G21, this Jeff might be dead, but I think I've survived it before. Then Blastar special, I guess I could have gotten greedy and started hitting all 3, but I just want this guy to die, and also it was the right choice, because you'll see here, I do the special, then I strip things off, which is great, and then Thunderstrike on him again, and he barely survives. So the good news is, because I've killed another member, he's blinded, and this is only unavoidable if he has a bunch of members. Yeah, he has to have 3 Daring Warrior members to do a bunch of his stuff, including being unavoidable. So even if he wasn't blinded, because there's a bunch of people missing, he wouldn't be doing this part, so it would hurt less because I'd have defense up and stuff. He wouldn't do disrupt, he wouldn't do ability block. So, but yeah, Sus giving them extra health did, you know, put a minor wrinkle there, but because I focused on Thrasher and made sure that he was blinded, this basically does nothing. And he dies to retaliate. Daredevil ultimate, you know, kind of sucks, but he also dies to retaliate. And now I just get to kill a solo Eclipse because I get to loop around her, basically. So, boop. I guess I could have done a basic there, potentially, with Songbird to get another assist from Blastar, but I don't think it matters. Ta-da! Alright, so stage 3, this is the room that made me have to rejigger my entire offense around, just to be able to accommodate this guy in this room, but we'll get to that in a sec. So this, as you already know, failed, and the main reason why is Shuri, because the whole concept here was, since this is stage 3 and everyone's going to be getting assists as long as they're a raider or a skirmisher, which they all are, so good ISOs from my opponent, whoever gets attacked by Morph, Storm, or Blue Marvel as the primary target is just going to die, because they're all going to assist. There's no way that anyone survives all that. It's just too much damage to eat into. So the concept was here, and I think this would have failed anyway, even if my theory had worked, is that Shuri would stop enough of the assists for most of this team to survive. However, there's a big wrinkle here that I didn't think about, which is that Shuri is charged, which makes Blue Marvel go way faster, so she is the first person to die here, basically, because she was never meant to survive that long. The hope was that Morph would hit into, I think I had Lalandra as a skirmisher here on purpose. Yeah, Lalandra was meant to eat Morph, and then Storm would probably kill Shuri, but I was hoping maybe not, because she would also have offense down. Blue Marvel would definitely kill her, and the gamble there was, I didn't know if Shuri dying to an attack would still trigger the assists, or if she still kind of prevents those in that moment. But also, the other thing I didn't really consider was, when she dies, Jubilee is also going to do... where is it? Abilities... yeah, she would also do this, which I think at that point means at the very least Angel is also going to take a turn before Odin, and because all the assists are on the table at that point, you know, he probably dies anyway, so I think this was kind of doomed regardless, because I missed multiple things. I was too focused on stopping assists to consider kind of the other things, but you'll see here, she's immediately dead. and made him go out of turn because we don't want this. Now Morph does hit into Lalandra, which was intentional. She takes a bunch of damage there, and she just dies because all the assists are now coming through. So whoever gets targeted with attacks here just dies. So you'll see here, Storm does that, also kills Mephisto. So, you know, at this point, we're basically done. They've all gotten a bunch of speed bar as well, so there was no way this was ever going to work. So, let's see what I did instead. Now for the follow-up, and this is where things got spicy, this was a test in a couple of ways, because I did a similar attack yesterday in another room, and instead of Professor X I had Mephisto, and he was there just for the extra health to make sure everyone can survive just fine. But that was also a 2-diamond Blue Marvel and a much smaller morph, so you know, this is a good test for A, can Professor X slot in here, and B, do I need Mephisto here for the extra health? And the answer is no, because this is a pretty, I'd say this is a big enough Exalted Blue Marvel that I think this would probably still scale to slightly bigger. Maybe a monster morph would be a problem, but anyway. The concept was, I'll just do what I did earlier this week, but instead of Mephisto, put Professor X will stop the assists, and hopefully that's good enough. And, I mean, you already know this works, because you see the result, but let's step through it. And the reason why Room 3 is better and worse is because, at least this version, as long as I stop the assists, once I get to my turns, they will just evaporate, because I get assists from everyone, assuming I do the proper ISOs, which I did not do. I could have made this attack better, but you know, this guy is still a striker. That's good. Whoops. That's not good. That's good. That's not good. So yeah, I should have had more raiders basically. But again, I was also kind of paranoid about the damage. So you know, I'd rather Odin survive than get assists. Actually, he can be whatever because he's getting assists no matter what. So in this case, these 2 assists are missing. Maybe I'd leave Lalandra Fortifier anyway, but him having assists is actually a pretty big deal. But anyway. Morph goes, hits into Spider-Man, and you can see, you know, this is a 3-diamond morph, and my Spider-Man is super healthy because he just dodged a bunch of stuff. He actually, it's funny because I think he actually dodged, let's see, yeah, he actually dodged the bleeds and the heal blocks, so he took some of the damage, but he also avoided the rest of it, which is kind of funny. So yeah, I like Spider-Man here as the target. Plus, even as a raider, he's the highest focus, so you don't have to like sacrifice someone's ISO. So yeah, he basically tanks Morph like a champion. Then Storm goes. These stuns are irrelevant. He's going to shake it off, and he's going to shake it off on his turn. And then, yeah, this is the biggest test here. Will Professor X die? The answer is no. Because the ultimate from Storm gives him some barrier, so Blue Marvel's not going to kill him. So feels safe. Once they, you know, give Storm diamonds, then maybe, you know, he no longer can survive this properly. But I could also make him a fortifier to make it extra safe. She almost died. So this could definitely get spicier, but I think even if she dies at this point, it doesn't matter because she's just here to make sure Storm, Morph, and Blue Marvel get offense down. After that, if she dies, it, you know, sucks a little bit, but it doesn't break anything. Now, Breaker, as always, goes and destroys the Blue Marvel, plus all the assists are now in play. You can see, you know, people that have Raider get assists. Then we do a special. I did a special here because with Blue Marvel gone, he wasn't going to chain to hit Angel, and he changed to Stealth, so hit these 3, plus the unstable anomaly from Breaker, so I just immediately killed 3 people. Then I did a basic on Angel because I just want to kill him with the assists. Boop. And yeah, basic. Boop. And finally Gladiator. I think this just kills her because of all the assists. So yeah, this is Exalted in this room is definitely spicy because it forces either Daring Warriors, I guess, or Professor X, or something else that I'm not thinking of. But it also makes, you know, if you survive, the rest of it is super, super easy because you get all the assists. So, yeah, let's move on and see what I had to do elsewhere because of Professor X being here. Alright, going into stage 4, so this is a fairly easy one-shot for me because it's rare to have a Nihilus on offense, and this team is resilient against sacking because Thanos is here and he can, mess with the energy, but because I don't care about that, he's kind of just free from me. And it means I get to bring an extra character that will contribute to the win, which in this case is Venom. Technically, this could be someone else as well, but he prevents crits, which is there's 3 raiders here, so he's just good to bring. Why not? And he hits really hard. Also, I know it looks like I took a lot of damage, which I sort of did, but also I still think something is up with Quicksilver's rebalance because I still feel like I'm taking more damage than healing, but there might be some weirdness where Quicksilver, and I guess just to show you what I'm talking about, where's Quicksilver? Yeah, so on any turn end, he does a heal and then redistributes total squad health evenly. The minions from Annihilus and the summon from Null might be messing with this, where they keep trying to heal it and it gets weird. I'm not entirely sure. Oh, and also the other thing that's interesting here is because you're going to see the turn order is very much in favor of my team, even though speed stat should be the same. This is not meant to work on Quicksilver's turn, at least the way it's written, because it's meant to be on ally turn I get speed bar, but on Quicksilver's turn he gives everyone speed bar. So the fact that I won the coin flip there means that my entire team just got speed bar. So you'll see in this turn order thing that his Quicksilver is past my team of 128 and 127 speed, so that speed bar is a pretty big deal. So Quicksilver goes. Now if I got an assist here from Null, I would be off the taunt already, which unfortunately I didn't. And the reason why that's unfortunate is because if I'm off the taunt, it means when my Annihilus goes, he can get an assist combo into Annihilus. So here, ideally, I'd be hitting into Annihilus, because running him as a striker here, see, I do get an assist, so that would have gone into Annihilus, which unfortunately didn't here, and it would have been more damage. But it's okay, Riot gets to do this, does a lot of damage, we get an assist, and we also get an ISO hit. Then Null gets to do his special. Almost pushes him, but as a skirmisher, just not enough damage. But then the ultimate from the Carnage summon will, plus the assist, gets the rod off, and now basically, this is basically over. Because as long as I keep rod and he doesn't, I'm in full control, I'm never going to lose this. But I'm still worried about him somehow getting ahead of my Annihilus. I guess he has a ton of speed bar, so he will ultimate if I let him live. So I figured I'll just ability block him. Never mind, I guess I'll just kill him, because Venom hits super hard. But anyway, you can see my health jumping up and down constantly. I think that's where the passive is just kind of weird from Quicksilver, and something might be going on. But anyway, now his Quicksilver gets to go. But it's kind of irrelevant at this point. My Null has gotten a bunch of speed bar from the summon being out, so I'm lapping them basically. My minion gets to go again. I'm getting assists. It's a massacre at this point. So I don't know what would happen if. I guess even if his symbiote. Whoops. Well, yeah, they all died. So I guess even if his Quicksilver went first and they started getting speed bar ahead of me, that would just supercharge my Annihilus. So I think either way I would get to my ultimate first. So I think even with the bad RNG, that still ends up favorable for me, but I guess we'll find out when I run into it. So stage 5, this is where I had to get really creative because I had to use Professor X over here, and he trivializes. Professor X trivializes this version because he makes Shuri and Hank not have their speed up, which they kind of need to do a lot of what they do, and yeah, without him, I wasn't really sure what to do here because I also was running out of speed bar stop options because I only had Captain Britain, and I kind of needed to use him against Starjammers. So what I ended up doing here was interesting, and this is still a kind of big Phoenix Force. I don't know if this would work against a 5 diamond. I hope I never have to find out. But yeah, anyway, pulling Professor X there did force me to get creative here. Mephisto was kind of my alternative way of blowing up Omega Red because I can do an empowered basic, but I have to survive to get that. And with Shuri and Hank having speed up, that would mean that Shuri would ability block a controller really early. But Hank is the big problem here because he would put out a very early, slow trauma offense down on my team if he goes. And then I lose my turn order, this whole thing falls apart. So instead, and this is, obviously by no means efficient, it does save me a speed bar option elsewhere. And the whole idea is, well, I just need them to not have speed up, but I can also make them have slow on spawn, which negates Omega Red's speed bar on spawn. So you'll see I take a billion turns before they get to go, and I have enough control. And, my Mysterio here is pretty small, but he still did what he needed to do, which was prevent immunity on the Phoenix Force members. So, just to see how this plays out, it's actually an very interesting attack. I kind of don't want to do it again, but in a pinch, it seems to work. So yeah, the Omega Red passive there just immediately killed the Mysterio clones. So I decided to ability block Magneto, because I'm hoping I can kill Omega Red, and if he uses his ultimate, it's going to be a lot of pain. So I ability block the Magneto. I got a little worried here because I cleared the slow on Shuri, so I wasn't really sure if that would be bad, but here I use the, this was probably a mistake. I used the special, I'll show you why it's a mistake. I can't bring up the UI, damn it. So the special does a rewind, but gives this guy speed up and offense up, I think. I figured I would just hard focus him because I think it does more damage, which it does some damage, but he's going to immediately heal it back up, I'm pretty sure. And the problem is that the ultimate also removes barrier. So that would have guaranteed some damage. Honestly, I don't know that it would have mattered because I don't think he's going to do enough damage anyway to, he's just going to heal it back up. But I think ultimate actually would have probably been the better choice here, just to remove all the barrier that's been accumulating so far. Now here's the important thing, because I guess, thinking through it, it's good that I have two vulnerables here, so maybe him as a skirmisher actually makes the most sense if I'm going to do this again, because I guess I got a little lucky with vulnerables. But and now I do this. Actually, I don't know if I got lucky because he gives vulnerables with his empowered basic. I can't see it here. So I guess yeah, Mephisto would have put vulnerables out there anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter. But it always helps to have more vulnerables. But yeah, see, I got him, he's now taken a bunch of permanent damage, and he's got a bunch of debuffs, but he's not that close to dying. So I'm still kind of paranoid here, and no Hobgoblin means no passive pings, which always help here. So I do the special just to get Shuri out of there, so that I'm not worried about her. Luckily though, because Mysterio does end up going ahead of everyone because of the on-spawn slow, I can ability block this guy and blind him as well. And by the way, when he's blinded, he doesn't heal up. His passive heal misses. So you can see here he almost didn't bleed out. But also because he's blinded and ability blocked, he's not going to do any damage to me. So don't care. But right now it's still a race to kill him. And the good news is that Superior Spider-Man does this and kills him. So the rest of this match is just slow playing as usual to just, not push Phoenix at a bad time because there is no speed bar stop here. But everyone else is still controlled really well, so, not at risk. Plus with Omega Red dead, I can just rewind. So, yeah, this was a fun attack. I'd rather not do it because it wasn't very efficient and, it might not scale properly. But today it worked, so thankful for that. And yeah, you'll see here it's just slow playing it, killing this Magneto, and then we're just going to kill Phoenix and pause. So 4 more turns. I think I did the ultimate here finally because I realized that I could remove the barrier and I was being silly. Plus it rewinds her a little bit. Mephisto basic. Superior Spider-Man special because we looped back to that. And finally Voltra basic, and we pause. So yeah, this worked. If it wasn't Heck and Shuri, I still would have needed to do a Mephisto comp, but I probably would have needed to pull Captain Britain into here, which would have made my Starjammer's attack slightly different, because the fact that I could on-spawn slow them here is what made it so that I didn't need to bring Captain Britain. But yeah, we'll see. This might end up being the room where most of the theory crafting happens if Professor X gets relegated to stopping assists against Exalted in that room. So yeah, we'll see what other shenanigans we can come up with. And finally, again, not going to show this, but this was also a reason why I got taxed pretty heavily, because Mephisto's here, and the only way that I can stop Mephisto is to bring Sentry, and because I don't have a Cursed, I have to Brimstone this, so I'm forced to use Brimstone and Sentry here, and you know, this is a very valuable tool because I was missing one speed bar stop. So like I was saying before, if this room forced me to bring Captain Britain and this room forced me to bring in Sentry, well, what the hell am I doing here to stop speed bar? Because he would be missing. So that might be another reason for me to just pull Starjammers to offense. So I have Howard as an extra speed bar stop. I just need to think through what I could replace it with, because right now my Starjammers, you know, pulls an accursed, which that's still a valuable tool. If I put in something here that you can more creatively and more cheaply kill something, then the rest of my defense might fall apart, because now more powerful units can move into other rooms, and the whole point that I keep making is that the totality of your defense is what matters, and what you're forcing your opponent to do in across all 6 of your rooms. But anyway, this is actually the final score. My opponent did not clear one of my rooms and had, I think, 2 cancels or 2 dropped attacks beyond that. So we managed to get the 3-0, so happy about that, because it's been a while since I've had a 3-0. And let's see, right now, yeah, Johnny's always going to be first. Praetorian's had a pretty good run. And then, where am I? I'm 7th, so yeah, we'll be in top 5, 6, I think, unless all of these people win, I guess, because everyone will gain points. But yep, we're back on the way up to get closer to top 3, let's say, because that's kind of the goal, with Johnny eating up the first one with his 5-diamond Annihilus. It looks like he's also going to get a 5-diamond Breaker pretty soon, since he has a pretty good score there that there's no way I can beat with my roster, so GG to him. And yeah, I'll see you next week with some tweaks to defense and probably some tweaks to offense. See you then.